Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. Check it out. Today we are reviewing the Happy Model Snapper 6 little micro FPV indoor racer. This one should be kind of fun. This is a bind and fly, and I have the FlySky version. So I'll be connecting it to a commandeered controller here I got from my FPV style Unicorn. So anyway, this is going to be a full review. We're going to unbox it here and we're going to run it around in the house. It's really windy outside right now. And also, these are new goggles I got in. Topsky F7X FPV goggles, similar to like Fat Sharks and stuff. So we're going to see how these do. I haven't run these yet. So let's get started with the Snapper 6 indoor review. F3, 5.8 gigahertz FPV. It's got built-in OSD and it runs on Betaflight. Okay, so first thing we want to do is see how this thing looks like out of the box. So this is the 6 version, not the 7 version, mind you. First thing we have on top is just a little instruction manual. This is showing you how to set up the model in your controller and also how to configure it on Betaflight. Very simple. Not going to really go through that setup because there's so many videos out there on how to do basic setup on Betaflight. So we're just going to dive right into unboxing it and then flying it. But here it is, check it out. So it's just in this packaging. Some of that very high density foam packaging looks pretty good. Here is the craft itself. So the Tiny 6 looking good. The thing about this one is it has these red anodized aluminum propeller guards. You can see how kind of beautiful that makes everything look. They're not going to really flex too much. And what else is unique about this is the motors. Check it out. So they're Happy Model little brushless motors. And these things are 19,000 kV 0603 motors. I'm not sure if you can see that on the camera, but just tiny little quick little motors. So we're going to see how that all works out. We have this top little plastic guard here. There's our FPV camera. Just that kind of all-in-one built-in FPV camera. There's the dipole antenna, linear antenna for the FPV cam. And there we go. So that's really just about it. The aluminum kind of ties into the carbon fiber frame. You can see it's a pretty thin frame, maybe just about 1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeter. Here's the receiver antenna sticking out the bottom. There's the place where we're going to put our batteries, and then the motors actually just plug into the flight controller there, so easily to swap out. But these, keep in mind, these are brushless motors, so I wouldn't imagine these wearing out anytime soon. Pretty simple. There's our Pico connector on the back to take our battery. Now let's see what else is in this box here before we get started with the goggles and stuff. So they do include a pretty awesome charger. Check this thing out. Happy Model branded little LiPo 1S LiPo charger, and you can see how we have the micro Pico and the regular Pico size, and then we have these little switches here to go from, oh wow, so to go from high voltage 4.35 to regular 4.20 1S batteries. So this will do high voltage 1S batteries, and then we actually have two different charge states as well, 0.6 amp charge and a 0.2 amp charge. So that's going to be like 200 milliamp hour or 600 milliamp hour, and you can adjust those two settings for each charge port, and there's 6 charge ports. Flipping it over to the back is the only other thing on this charger. So we have a USB. You can also plug in, if you have a battery, you can plug your battery into there. I think the input, there's your input there. So 7 to, is that 25 volts, 7 to 25 volts input. So you can use any kind of drone race batteries you have laying around. Or you can also use this regular computer type jack for input as well. So lots of options to charge these little batteries. Speaking of the little batteries, let's dig out everything that's in this box. A screwdriver, 4 propellers, and 2 rubber bands, and a propeller removal tool to change the propellers if you ever break your propellers. And check this out, they give us actually 3 batteries in here, so that's great. We're going to be able to just kind of fly one after the other. And these are Happy Model branded 250 milliamp hour, high voltage 4.35 volts. And that's great because this charger that they include with this can charge 6 at a time, even though there's only 3 here, and it can also do high voltage. So definitely a big bonus to have this many batteries and this type of charger in the box with this. Okay, so last thing, since this is kind of an all-in-one little review for these goggles too, I'm gonna go ahead and open this up. And let's just check these out real quick before we go ahead and fly this thing. So a really nice F7X case. Take note, Sky Zone and Fat Shark, because this is a pretty nice case. It's a semi-hard case. It does have a little clip here for hanging it. It's even got a little rubber handle, nylon and rubber handle, and some nice zippers here. So let's unzip this and see what these goggles look like. Wow. So check this out. I got the camo version of these goggles, looking good. Pulling out the goggles first, taking a little in-depth inspection before we do anything else. I'm liking this really flexy material here. It looks like it's that same kind of setup that comes with Fat Sharks, where you have this Velcro, where you can just Velcro right on your new pad here. And it's already all pre-mounted. You don't have to really worry about mounting this thing up. It looks like over in the nose piece, they give you a little bit of breathing room to move this thing around. A little fan on top. Fan enclosure, channel buttons. We have a joystick that we can move around and press in this side. Same for that side. Volume up and down here. Really nice looking camo look to it. We've got an SD card in there. We pop this off and here's one of our modules, probably for like a head tracker or something, because there's really nothing in there right now. Go ahead and pop that thing back on. We've got venting directly in the front to keep it kind of cool. Flipping it over to the bottom before we get to the other side, we have an AV in. We've got our power in. We have a S-video type cable for data. We have the IPD adjustment. And these ones actually feel nice and tight, not like some of the other goggles where they're super loose. We have our off-on button here, and on-off for the receiver if you didn't want to just turn that off for some reason. Prevent it from heating up if you're using alternate video inputs. That's great. We have an HDMI mini input there, and we also have a headphone jack there, so that's cool. So little rubber plugs, and this is actually where our receiver is going to plug in. You can see that port there, and they do actually give us the receiver in the box. But that's basically what the goggles look like. It does look like it has a little sensor there. See that there? A little light sensor perhaps, or laser. Here's our head strap. So it's not really a three-way strap, it's just a two-way strap around the back of your head there, and those are gonna just go right in here. You can see there's a little notch there, and we're just gonna put those right in. We've got a cloverleaf antenna, so kind of a generic but rather large antenna that has some good flex to it. We'll go ahead and see how this performs with some other quads, but for this quad, since it's a linear, I'm not going to be using this, but it does include that. Great little charger, look at this. So take note, Fat Shark, gosh, those last Fat Sharks I got, those red ones, red and black ones, they didn't even come with a charger like this, and I couldn't even charge them on my charger because their battery didn't have a balance connector. But these guys give you I have a American plug with a battery adapter to charge whatever this is, 2S or 1S. Let's see what the battery is here. It's a LiPo 2S 2200, great. And it looks pretty solid. It's more of a square pack. It's got the notches perfectly for the goggle straps. And there's our plug-in. We're going to plug into the goggles and also where we're going to charge it. And what I'm looking for is this little box here. So this is the module they give you. And of course you could get any kind of module you want. You could do a diversity module, but this is just a regular video receiver module, no diversity in here. But as you can see on that little door we took off, with these two plugs, it will take a little diversity module if we wanted to. And really all we're doing is matching up the pins, pushing that thing in. It goes in pretty nice and tight. There we go. And these ones actually, this little cover, this is way more snapped in there than the last Fat Sharks I was reviewing. So they'd, for a more of an off-brand, these things are actually looking better as far as build quality and features and everything. And last but not least on these goggles, I didn't even see this little bag in here, so check this out. So there's a whole nother pocket in the top. I'm really liking this little bag. And we've got a whole nother face strap, and this is that little Velcro I was talking about, where it's really easy just to pull the other pad off and put this pad on. So at least they give you a whole extra pad. And then here are some cables and stuff. So we've got a video in cable and with some RCA connectors there. And they actually give us a little HDMI cable. So regular HDMI here to the mini HDMI that will go right into the goggles. Pretty robust little package. I'm liking it. So we'll charge these up, get some charge in the goggles battery, and let's go ahead and fly this thing around the house with the FPV. I'll have it up on the screen so you can see that. And let's see how fun this thing is and how long it lasts with the battery power. I assume it's going to be a little bit less flight time because it is a little heavier with the brushless and the aluminum around the sides. But let's just see how it does. Okay guys, so I believe we are ready to go. This Top Sky battery actually has a meter too. So you can see it's fully charged there. Turn the controller on here. Already have it bound up and all my flight modes set really easily per the instructions in Betaflight. Plugging in. There we go. What's going on? So maybe a little bit of a problem right off the bat, unfortunately. Let me try to reboot this, see if it was maybe an ESC issue. Let's see if we possibly can get this going. There it goes. So maybe just a connection issue in that connector. It seems to be working now. Let's try. Before our battery completely dies, hurry up. There we go. In the FPV I was seeing some flashing. But there we go, have it recorded. I already got low battery.
My world is upside down. I just wanna find my way. Gotta get a breath before I drown. You've torn my world apart. I'm left with only scars. These pieces of my heart are the remnants of this love. I thought we had it all. We conquered every wall. But kingdoms rise and fall like us. Never would've thought it was you. Never would've known it was me. Everything we felt that was true was a lie, couldn't see. We were on a high for a while before we came down like a wall. Everything is good for a time. Kingdoms rise, kingdoms fall.
Okay, so that first flight was pretty awesome. Just a little bit weird how the right rear motor was kind of seizing up until I kind of pushed the connector and spun it a little bit. So maybe there might be a little bit of an issue with this motor. But we're going to put one more battery in here. And I will say, man, the view in these is really good. Like I have a wide screen, basically pretty much edge to edge. This one's actually a 16:9, and you can change that in the settings here if you want. Of course, it's going to stretch a little, but I like having the 16:9 even though it's a little bit stretched. So far, so good. Let's fly again.
I can't pretend it, can't pretend, oh no. Whoa. I can't pretend it, can't pretend it. Don't feel right, no, don't feel right. a fool to see this through. If you ain't trying, I don't want this anymore. When you kiss me, when you hold me, I can feel your touch so cold. Try to fight it, can't deny it. Now I know the flame has gone. If you were to leave me, I would be fine. You know I don't need you wasting my time. Try to fight it, can't deny it, 'cause this feeling's way too strong. So if I turn to leave, oh don't you question me. No, you ain't gonna play me twice. No, I gave you honesty, but you had none for me. I can't pretend it don't feel right. No, I can't pretend it. I can't pretend it don't feel. I can't pretend it don't feel right. No, I can't pretend it. I can't pretend it don't feel.
Okay guys, well there we have it. That was quite fun, wasn't it? Just zooming around the house. So it just kind of goes to show that you can still have lots of fun with FPV racing or just messing around in general in your house if the weather's bad, you know? If it's winter, it's snowing, raining, windy outside, get something like this and you're gonna have loads of fun indoors. And this seems like a decent package. We'll go ahead and run through a pros and cons right now. It's a bind and fly, so you're not gonna get a controller, so you're gonna need to get your own controller. I believe they have this version in Fly Sky or FR Sky. Of course, I got the Fly Sky, so you're gonna need your own controller, you're gonna need your own goggles. There are cheaper versions. This is actually a really cheap controller. These are, you know, maybe $200 to $300 goggles. Again, I'll have the links to all this stuff I'm using down in the description. But the Snapper 6, it seemed pretty good. I was having that little problem with the right motor. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't want to work. On liftoff, I'm not sure what that was, but it seemed like when I pushed the wires around here or spun the propeller here, it seemed to work fine. So maybe just a little connection problem, not too sure. You are going to have to either learn how or have some experience, just very minimal experience in getting into Betaflight and setting up, you know, your modes and your switches on your controller and your channels to make sure you can arm this. Again, this does have Horizon and Acro mode if you wanted to turn them on. I did not use either of those. I just was in pure self-leveling mode in the house, where if you let off the sticks it'll just come back to leveling, because I wasn't doing any super fast flying and I didn't really need acro in here. It could get a little bit sketchy if you're in tight quarters with acro, but this does have that and I've tested it before and it does actually work. So acro works fine on this. The aluminum on the motors, it seemed actually pretty good because I was bouncing off a lot of stuff. Drones that have plastic propeller guards, when you hit something, they seem to flex and then bounce and shoot you way out. These ones, when you hit something, it seemed to not really bounce much. It just like stayed right next to it because they're so hard. There's not any spring to them, so it's not going to bounce you off your course too much unless you're going super fast. But overall, pretty good. We could see that we had about 3 minutes of flight time, so you can expect that 3 minutes. That's not too bad. That's kind of average for one of these micro drones, especially something that's a little heavier with the aluminum and the brushless that this has. Great charging system, awesome little charger. It does high voltage. They do give you high voltage batteries. Again, really watch your voltage. One of the cons on this was it seemed like the voltage settings were off out of the box. It seemed like as soon as I turned the thing on, it was warning me of voltages. So you might have to kind of mess with that in Betaflight a little bit to get that really tuned in. But it did seem like the batteries are slightly puffed. I'm not sure if this one seems puffed more than the others. But just a tiny bit. These ones are probably okay. This one may be damaged already. Maybe I just dropped it too low. But awesome charging system. They give you the spare parts. So a decent little drone. The FPV was really good. The OSD was awesome. The FPV signal, though, a little bit to be desired. And I'm not sure if that's just because of maybe the generic antenna I'm using here or the RX in these goggles, the video receiver in the goggles, or the video transmitter on here. Of course, it's only like 25 milliwatt transmitter. But it was a little bit to be desired. I've had much stronger signal with this type of setup with other drones and other goggles, so I'm not sure which end was giving us the difficulty on this one, but just a little bit too scratchy in the FPV when I went over into the kitchen, and that's only about 50 feet away through a wall. So I've had better experiences with other devices. But I do like this setup as far as the battery goes. They do give you a great charger in the box with these goggles. The fan works very well. The screen is very clear. You can do 4:3, you can do widescreen. It does record. It's got a DVR on it. I'll have had that footage up on the screen for you guys so you can see what the quality is on that. Of course, it doesn't have that third head strap. I wasn't really feeling any problems with it. You just wear it a little bit higher on your head in the back and it sits on really nicely. It's a very good quality strap here. Besides that, these are really pretty solid goggles. They were doing very good. Of course, you can always swap out the module for whatever you want. If you want a diversity module, you can have, the ports are there for it. So you could have 2 connectors coming out here, you know, one for a patch antenna and one for a cloverleaf or a linear antenna, whatever you want to do. So pretty decent goggles, and they do have a really nice case. This case is actually leaps and bounds better than a lot of the high quality goggles out there on the market. So I hope you enjoyed that review and it was informative to you. Again, links in the description of where you can find what I'm reviewing here. You can have loads of fun if the weather's bad outside, just farting around into your house with FPV stuff and having tons of fun. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next review. Pokey? You're interrupting me, buddy. You wanna go outside? Hey, just a second, let me finish. Just a minute.